Matt from AltCoin Buzz. Today we're going to do a comparison of volatility on some of your favorite cryptocurrencies and two tools I'm using to gauge this market and why I think you should add them to your trading plan. So let's go for it. Volatility could be a big subject. We could talk for days about this, but quite simply, we're just going to talk about price action over time. It has to do with speed and range of price movement. You guys know that the cryptocurrency market is young. It's mature. It's not mature like the stock market. It's in its infancy. We have a high volatility. There's a lot of range of movement. Now, the technical definition of volatility, one place is a statistical measurement of the dispersion of returns for a given security or market index. It can be either measured by using a standard deviation or variance between the returns from that same security or underlying asset and market index. Okay, so commonly the higher volatility, the riskier the security. We're going to get an idea of this in the real world in the stock market. You can go to the CBOE and you can look at the VIX. It is quite commonly called the fear indicator. It's the fear gauge of the markets. It's been used for a long time, and it's designed to reflect a consensus view of the upcoming 30 days expected stock market volatility in the S&P 500. Now, that's kind of the barometer, the gold standard for measuring fear. You might have heard them talk about that on CNBC, on trading programs, on this. So let's just get an idea of how this works in the regular markets, and then we're going to turn, and I'm going to show you a resource in the Bitcoin volatility world and how we can use that as a comparison. So here you go. This is a year chart of the VIX. Remember, this is the S&P 500. And quite simply, it has been at a low volatility for quite a long time as the stock market has been going up, 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 up. But I'm just going to show you what it's done in the last few days. So here you go. We had a spike in volatility from the norm. Now, don't get so caught up in the numbers on this video today that you get lost, that you get into the weeds on this. We're just taking a big picture comparison of what volatility does and how it affects price, or how extra action, extra movement, range, and what happens in these situations. Times of quiet or times of high volume, noise in the markets. Lots of buzz, guys. Okay, so this is what the VIX did. It had a big spike up very quickly. Remember, this is the year-long chart. Most of the year, it has spent right around the 10 line right here on the VIX. Okay, you can see this as we zoom into the 5-day chart. So if you look in here, here's yesterday. We had an up day yesterday, and the market recovered a little on the Dow, but this is the 400-point drop on the Dow the day before last. The fear gauge, the volatility spiked high very quickly. Remember, I told you it spent a lot of the year, the preceding 12 months, at around 10, dipping down and back and forth over 10, 9, 11, 9, 11, back and forth all year. Low volatility, not much range of the day in action. Big spike the other day. Well, lo and behold, the Dow had dropped 400 points. So it's going to help you with your definition, with your comparison of when we talk about Bitcoin and the volatility. So don't use the VIX or the stock market volatility or anything like that for the numbers into comparing to Bitcoin, because we all know Bitcoin crypto has a much higher volatility, much bigger range. We had talked about this in previous videos. It can go 10%, 20%, 30% range in a day. You guys know this. You've been involved with this. You know. So here's one site that I've been using. It's a new tool for you. It's just a simple historic short-term versus long-term Bitcoin volatility. And they have their real-time data right here that they're using. Remember, it's calculated differently for different assets. So they use a standard deviation off of whatever they decide, and they've decided how they calculate it. Bitvol.info down here. They use the standard deviation of daily closing price for the preceding 30, 60, 120, 252 day windows. So you can use this tool as a gauge. Now the top chart here is just Bitcoin price over the last 1 year. And down below here, I'm going to show you the year chart. So you just click on the 1 year. I have it set to 30-day Bitcoin versus US dollar volatility. So this is the 30-day range trend over a year. You can see how this is calculated and what it does. So I would use this just to find out where we are at on the 30-day volatility as a whole. So if you take just the middle line here, if it spent most of the year here, we're just a little higher than normal on this 30-day calculated volatility. But then you can click down here and say, what's the long-term 360-day Bitcoin versus US dollar volatility? It's right here. So we've had times of going up and back and forth above it, and you can get a big picture view of this. Now, watch this. I'm going to hit all on this. Now, this will give you Bitcoin's volatility percentage over time, and again, just as a comparison. So Bitcoin has spent a lot of the time on big volume spikes, big things that have happened. If you go all on the price, we have this huge run up in the market, so it distorts the chart. So you're not going to be able to get these huge spikes we had here, like at Mt. Gox, all-time high, right in there. Bitcoin volatility was huge. So as you can see from this, we've gone all the way up. However they calculate this, whatever they use for a standard deviation, don't as much worry about as look at, we've had a lot higher spikes in fear or volatility or daily range than other times of the year. Big picture, we're in the middle. We're just right in the middle here. It's closer to the 360-day volatility range, closer than not, right down the middle. It's been a lot higher, it's been lower, but shoot in the middle right now. Guys, you know this is a time of quiet. Simply put here, higher volatility, the bigger the candles on the chart. You guys know candlestick charting. Oh, it's everywhere. It's on your it's on every exchange account, every one that uses charting. Here's my Kraken account, and we're going to go back and look back and forth. Now, check out these candles. Big range of candles. So what day was that? January 12th. We had a big daily range. You guys know we were at 17,000 on Bitcoin right there. It was just a few days ago, by the way. Down to 13. One day, 4,000 point range. So we're going to look at January 12th. Let's go back here, look at the volatility. January 12th. What do we... Let's go 1 year chart and just move your cursor. January 12th. Here we go. Volatility was kicking up. I want you to look at the comparison of how fast it moved up right there, January 11th to January 12th. It's the speed of the movement, of how fast, just like here, January 3rd and 4th, it dropped very quickly in one day to the 6th. That day to that day, over that range. Look at your candlesticks on there. There's January 4th, 5th, and 6th. Look at how big these candles are of this range. Now let's go back and look at another one. Look at the daily range on December 21st. Big range, 15,200 to 11,000. Again, a 4,000 point range on December 21st. And again, don't get caught up on these numbers as much as, and I should know this day right there. December 21st. Volatility had been spiking the previous days, going almost vertical here, guys, really quickly. Now, instead of what we have going right here, the 1 month, we've just been leveling out. Volatility has been relatively quiet in this range. You haven't had huge spikes. You haven't had rapid price movement back and forth. All right, so now what you guys are really asking out of all this is how do you use it? And what I'm saying is watch the volatility trends. When you get these spikes, you're going to know how to react with your trading plan. This is the big thing. When it goes and has that big a range in one day, you know, well, maybe I need to check this out. It has potential to react violently. It could react violently to the upside. I've seen that a lot. It could act violently to the downside. But what happens when you get a big spike up and you see an increase in volatility? You know that maybe in your trading plan, you need to work from your core position, maybe add your second third or your third, take some off the table, go back down to your 2/3 position. If things calm down just a little bit, maybe you want to add to your core position, go back up to your 2/3, 3/3 position. Split it in thirds and work your trading plan on a portion of your portfolio. Maybe you're not doing this, guys, with a big percentage of your portfolio, but a lot of you are frustrated. You're frustrated with your positions because you're either maxed out and you're waiting for things to go up. You don't have any dry powder on the side, or maybe you got into this. You're waiting for things to pick up, for the volume to pick up, for the activity to pick up before you put some of your fiat into the crypto market. You want things to settle down. You want to know it's to a point where, okay, now I'm in a good position to start adding. I'm going to buy my core position. And maybe if things go your way, you add your second third, your 2/3 position. Then you might add your 3/3 position as things are trending nice and slow and they're on a good path of volatility. These are just ideas for you to write out on your trading plan to keep you from getting emotionally involved, clicking the screen all the time, the refresh button, looking at the prices all the time, and getting juked and getting faked out of your overall plan, your investment strategy. All right, what you're really asking me is, okay, that's great, but how do I do this myself? How do I use this on these cryptos that I'm in? So here is CoinCheckUp, that tool that all of us, I think many of us on the team have been looking at. Now, they just recently did an update. I started using this several weeks ago, and I really liked it, but they were doing an upgrade, and they said they were on the screen, and it's actually quite faster right now. There's several things that I want to show you on this, but today we're just going to look at the volatility piece because they actually have a lot of tools in here and some predictive models and things that, of course, you can dig into it, but I'm going to do on future videos. So they have a nice little feature here where you can just click the box and say only my coins. So if you want to click that and you had set these as favorites, you can just look at the ones you want to have those on the screen. You guys know as we're recording this, we're around 9,500 on Bitcoin. So I'm going to uncheck that and just have all of them. So we have everything on here according to market cap. Let's just toggle that right there, and biggest market cap first in the lead. So we'll look at them in order there. And another setting feature that they have that's really cool over here is the volatility. So you go and you click, I'm going to go back here for you guys. Go to settings right here, custom grid layout. You can customize it how you want to see these columns all through here. So I'm going to go 7-day volatility, and I'm going to add in the 30-day volatility because I want to compare short-term volatility against a little bit longer-term volatility now. So you can see that it added those over here on the right. Now, I don't know what calculation they use, what standard deviations they use to calculate this volatility or range that they're using, what price range. It's not about that. It's not about the number percentage. It's about the comparison, the overall. Are things more quiet right now on the short term for this week than they were for the range that we've had over the last 30 days? I know you guys have been involved with this. You're gonna see this. You're not going to have too much problems guessing that. So right now, the 7-day volatility of Bitcoin on this is 22%. Versus the range it's had in the last 30 days and how they calculate that. So you can get a comparison as you go down through the list, find the investments that you're in, and what I'm saying is as you, instead of just clicking and looking at prices every day. Did it move? Did it move? Did it move? Is it going my way? Is it happening? Is it recovering? Keep an eye on this short-term volatility. Is it increasing? Did you get a huge spike today versus yesterday? Now, I know because you're looking at this, say you have your favorite coin over here. Let's tune that up to favorite on here. And say you're in Stellar Lumens. And you're looking at it. That's a 42% range. No matter how you slice it over the last 7 days, it's moved a lot back and forth. Well, if you notice this jump up to the 30-day historical, the longer term, you know something's going on. There's price action. Be aware. How does that fit into your trading plan? How do you want to play this if this volatility short term goes over the long term? You need to be aware, because in standard markets, that becomes a possible fear gauge. Lower volatility, less fear in the market. Higher volatility, more potential for things to go back and forth. Again, in the crypto markets, volatility isn't a bad thing at all. So I, in the past, have sold a lot of volatility in the options market. That's a beautiful thing, because you know that it's probably going to range and at some point quiet down, come back to normal. So I am giving you a rubber meet the road on your cryptos as opposed to watching the prices every day. Also add in this volatility monitoring. Find out if you get a big spike. This is what we want to see. Just like over here on what everybody's calling Big Daddy Bitcoin, which I crack up at. I love that when the guys say Big Daddy Bitcoin. Here is a 1-year chart of the 30, again on Bitcoin. And when you get these days where it goes vertical, you need to be aware. Look at these market points. Look at these drops when volatility just went, October 13th, and all within 3 days dropped a big range compared to itself. You're comparing this to itself. You're not comparing the 6% number to the 4%, to what the VIX is doing, to what all your other cryptos are doing. Don't worry about that. Compare if you're in Litecoin, compare this 27% to itself in a couple days if it kicks up to 37%. Or it gets closer to its 30-day volatility in its range. That's when it heats up or it calms down. So this is a tool that it's not a prediction tool. That's the last thing I wanted to tell you guys. It can help you just make that decision on your investment plan, and then you know you've got one more thing in your kit that you can be aware of to adjust your position size on this stuff. If you're trading, I don't advocate that you day trade this stuff. I think you guys should swing trade. You should only, and possibly your core position is about a 2/3 position. And just when things really heat up and get noisy and go way up, spike way up, you sell off that top 1/3, you keep your 2/3. When things quiet down, you add back your top 1/3. So that way you get a little movement back and forth. You can pick up some profits, but you're not shaken out of your core investment. And again, core investment, remember, as I've been talking to you guys, is what I think to be a huge 2018, 19, and 20, when all these companies begin to kick in, have real use case, application, interview. But most importantly, guys, we're going to mass adoption of crypto. We're going towards mass adoption on all fronts on blockchain. This is a disruptive technology, and you guys are already in it. AltCoin Buzz, you're already involved in this. You're already keeping a close eye on it. You guys have had so much analysis compared to what I even saw a year or two ago in crypto. You're inundated with information on this stuff. So while you're doing it, one more thing for your toolkit. Hey, been really good being with you. This is stuff that interests me that I'm talking about, and I think it's going to help in your research. So if you guys want more content like this and all the videos from AltCoin Buzz, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification buzzer. Every time an AltCoin Buzz video drops, you'll hear about it. Thanks. You guys have a great day.